Hello everyone, so I will be partaking in this year's reading rush. I only did it one time before, and that was last year, and I was proud of myself because I read 7 books in the week, and so I'm hoping I can do it again this year. The first challenge is to read a book with purple on the cover, and for this I chose If You Ever Tell by Carleen Thompson. This is a mystery novel about Teresa, who about 8 years ago, her mother and stepfather were killed, and her stepsister got out alive. So people always thought that Teresa had did it, even though someone has confessed, but now 8 years later, the killer has retracted his confession, and it's up to Teresa to find out what really happened and clear her name. I picked this one because Carleen Thompson is an easy read, and I really enjoy her books. I speed through them very quickly, so I figure I can get this out in maybe like a day or a day and a half. The next one is to read a book in the same spot the entire time, and for this I decided to change it up a bit. I always read kind of my books in my room in the same spot anyways, but I decided to read this book outside on the porch. It has a nice little reading area that I think I will enjoy. And for the book I chose was Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen. This is a non-fiction memoir book about Susanna Kaysen, who when she was 18 was admitted into a psychiatric hospital. So this is about like 168 pages, so I'm sure I can read it in a day and definitely in the same spot. I read this in high school, so that was a very long time ago, and so I've always wanted to reread this, and this is the perfect time to do so. The next one is to read a book you meant to read last year, and for this one I chose The Final Girls by Raleigh Sager. I've been meaning to read this book for so long. I always put it on my TBRs, and I always say I'm going to get to it that month, but I never do, and so this is the perfect time to just get into it because I know I will like this book. This is a mystery thriller novel about Quincy, who went on vacation with 5 of her friends, and she was the only one to come back alive. And now it's 10 years later, and she is kind of in this club known as the Final Girls, who are made up of girls who went through kind of the same situation. The next challenge is to read an author's first book, and for this I chose Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I've wanted to reread this book for so long. I've only read it once, and that's when it first came out. I think it was like 12 or 13, and so that was a very, very long time ago. The next one is to read a book with a non-human main character. And for this one, I chose The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan. The main character is Percy Jackson, who is a demigod, and there's many demigod, and there's satyrs, and many non-human characters involved. It was very hard for me to find a book with a non-human main character that I could read quickly. The next one is to pick a book with 5 or more letters in the title. This one I chose The Restaurant at the End of the Universe by Douglas Adams. This is the second book in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the last challenge is to read a book to movie adaptation. And for this one I chose Mortal Engines by Philip Reeve. This is a young adult science fiction dystopian novel. It is about Tom, who is an apprentice in the Guild of Historians, and when he saves his hero, the head of the historians, from a murder attempt by a girl named Hester Shaw, he is then thrown from the city and is stranded with Hester Shaw. This sounds like a good book, and I've seen previews for the movie that came out a couple years ago, and it looks just as good. So I am looking forward to reading the book and watching the movie. And the bonus is to get through 7 books. And I know some of these books fit multiple challenges, but I really want to get through 7 books. It will be a challenge, but I'm up for it. So tell me in the comments below if you are doing the reading rush and like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!